Hey everybody, welcome back to Dad Does Video. So today I'm going to show you how to remove a dimmer switch and put a new one in, and I'm going to be using this one by Legrand Adorne. It's the soft tap dimmer. It's actually called a tru-universal soft tap, and what you can see here, and the reason I'm putting it in is it is available for all kinds of different lights, and in theory this is supposed to work with any or be compatible with any light that you have. So if you watch some recent videos that I did, you know that I just put in some Utilitech retrofit LED down light. So I figured I'd get this because I have these, the Legrand Adorne collection all over my house, and it's the tru-universal. It should fit with anything. So we're gonna pop this in so it can control my LEDs. If you want to see here's the serial number if you want to compare right here. So we'll show you how to do this. First and foremost, like any other electrical work that you do, turn your power off to your switches. First step after that, or I guess the second step in our journey here, is to remove the plate around the switches that are already there. So just get your flathead screwdriver and just remove those. Okay, so once you've got that plate off, you can see the next step here is to remove each of these switches from the wall. And there, for each switch, and I'm gonna just put a regular switch over here to control a different light. But you just take the screws off and just pull out from the wall. They'll be connected with some wires. Okay, so once you get the switches off the wall, this is what they should look like, or something like this. You're gonna see them attached via a bunch of wires. So what you're going to do next is just remove the actual switches, these wires, from the wires that are coming out of the wall. So what you wanna do, your wire caps, mine happen to be blue, but they could be yellow, red, whatever. Just twist them counterclockwise, and they should become loose, and then separate the wires from one another. Make sure you keep, if you're dealing with a two outlet situation or a two switch situation like I am, that the wires that connect to this one just stay on this side, and the wires that connect to this one stay on the other side. You don't want to cross wires. Each of these wires coming out of the wall goes to that particular switch. Okay, so I've got my switches disconnected from the wires coming out of the walls, and this is what this should look like after you've done that. You see my switch on the left, here are the wires, switch on the right, here are the wires. What you want to do next, and mine are in pretty good shape, if you have exposed copper that is kind of long, longer than maybe 3/4 of an inch, just use a wire cutter and cut it down. Also, these sometimes can get a little twisted. Just straighten them out. It gets them ready to be put in the Legrand Adorne switches. Okay, so the next step gets a little bit tricky. Just because I've installed these before, I knew what to look for. But when you install the tru-universal soft tap dimmer, and that's again what we're going to do, it requires two black wires coming out of the wall. So we've got those two right here, right? We've got our ground wire, but it also requires a white wire and neutral coming out of the wall. And guess what? We don't have one. But here are all your neutral wires right here. So what we need to do is cut a piece of wire, a piece of white wire, connect it into here and run the other end to our switch, which I'll show you how to do. So it's basically you're putting together a jumper wire to run from the crowd of white wires, the neutral wires already in your box, to your new dimmer switch. Okay, and this is what you need if you're going shopping at Lowe's or Home Depot or anything else. Just a package like this. This is just standard Romex wiring. What you want to do is just grab the end, and depending upon what kind of, what length you need to connect, just cut maybe 6-7 inches off. You could always trim it down depending upon what you need, but I like to start there, especially if you need to fold and stuff like that, and just cut this off. Okay, as you can see here, I cut off 6 or 7 inches and just use some scissors. So you could see the white wire, I pulled it out a little bit so you could see it sticking out the top. So what you want to do, just because you only need that neutral wire, you just pull it out. Got another one, I got some ground wire, but this is it. And if you notice, when I put this up here, we have to get some exposed copper on each end of these so we can connect them to the right places. So get your wire cutters. If you don't have them, pick up something like this. And this is 14 gauge wire. This is what you typically find in houses for typical electrical, when it's lights and outlets and those kinds of things. Occasionally it's 12 gauge, but predominantly it's 14. And you just, if you could see here, you just put it in the hole where the 14 is, right? However you want to, how much wire you want to expose. So you just slide it in like that, put it in the hole, and then pull. And what you should be left with is an exposed copper right here. So here's what your wire should look like. You can see I've got some exposed copper up here and down there. So we are ready to go to the next step, and that is going to be to loosen this nut and again twist to the left so that we'll be able to put one end of our new wire in here to connect with the other neutrals. Okay, and when you take that, I just took this nut off here, you should see all these wires all twisted together. So what we're simply going to do is grab the end of your new wire, line it up with them, and then again, all you have to do is twist this on. Just put it in there and twist. You don't need to be concerned about wrapping this up in here right now. The twister will do that for you. So just put it next to them and get them all in there and twist. So once you do that, this is what it should look like. And you could even tug on it, tug on some of the other wires to make sure they're tight in there. What I like to do, a lot of people don't do this, as you can see the people who've wired this previously don't put electrical tape around these. I like to wrap some electrical tape around these so it connects the wires and makes it more of a snug fit from the cap with the wires. So I'm going to do that next. And if you're curious about electrical tape, you can just buy a roll like this at, for $2 or $3 at Home Depot or Lowe's, and just cut off, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 inches in here and just wrap it around just right here. So once you get your plate and switch cover out of the box, you'll notice on the back, and this is what you want to remove, you just need to separate these two from each other. So just pull apart. See, like that, and this is what you're going to connect to the wall next. The box comes with screws, a couple sets of screws, and a yellow cap here that we're going to use to attach the ground wires in here right now to this ground wire on the frame, coming from the frame. So like I mentioned, what we're going to do is just take our plate, right, and put the screws that it came in, connect the screws in here, screw them in up here, screws down here, and then in down here to connect to the wall. One of the things about the Adorne dimmer, what you have to do, you can see these kind of fillers on this side. When you have a regular switch, you keep them in, but when you have a dimmer switch, you need to pop these out. And what you do to do this, get the light here, is you just squeeze these sides and they pop right out. See that? And you just do it there, and then you'll have a big space where the dimmer will fit in. Okay, so we've got our frame up, and what we're gonna do next is attach the green wire that came with the frame, right? And the 2 bare copper wires that at least were in my electrical box. Perhaps you're putting in a dimmer and you just have one ground wire. Regardless, you need to attach all the ground wires together. Your Legrand Adorne frame came with the wire cap. What we're going to do is just position all these wires together. So you just want to line them up. I'm not doing a great job. So you just want to line them up like that, and then you'll simply put the cap on and twist until, like before with the white wire, you tug on them a little bit, make sure they're tight, and wrap some electrical tape around them. So once you've got those wires connected together and all taped up, you just want to kind of push this back in your electrical box for now. Okay, so here is our dimmer switch after it's taken out of the package. So you can see what I mean. We need this extra space here so that it fits in the hole that we've got going. So if you have a switch like I do, where this is just on one pole, which means this is the only switch that controls the lights that I'm going to be working with, I am going to connect one of my black wires sticking out to the right side of this hole right here. The other black wire is going to go down here where it says one pole to the right. And then my white wire that we just installed is going to go on this hole to the right here. And what's nice about these switches and outlets from Legrand Adorne is you're seeing here, you're not wrapping your wires around screws. They're actually holes that you have to push the copper wire into, and then on top you just screw them down with a screwdriver so they clamp in there. So put your wires in and then screw down with the holes, and then again tug to make sure that they're tight. Okay, so we've got our wires hooked up, as you can see, just like I mentioned before. And what we're going to do, like I've talked about before, is just push this in. And when I say push this in, I really mean just push this in. Make sure the plus is at the top and the minus is on the bottom. That's the way that it should be. It's up the right side going to the, it's right side up, I guess I should say, and just push. There you go, just like that. What I'm going to do is install just a regular light switch on the other side from Legrand Adorne. If you've seen some of my other videos, you can catch this one as well on how to do this, but I won't bog you down right now for time. Okay, we're ready to finish this up with the last step. All you have to do is get your frame and just push it in. Make sure, I'm not sure if you could see it, but it says Legrand right there. Make sure that's facing right side up. You can see I just switched it around. And all you do is kind of get that where you want it and push. You'll hear the clicks go in. Make sure you got that all the way around. And that's it. There's your new switch. Let's turn the power on, make sure it works. Okay, so I just flipped the power back on, and as you can see here, what's kind of neat about this, there's a little dot here in the middle of the switch that lights up. It lets you know that power is going to it. And all you do to turn the lights on is you just press the button, and as you can see, the little lights go up on the right side of this, and there's a plus at the top and then a minus, and you could just adjust, right? If you want more light, you could probably see the background light getting brighter. You just press up, and if you want less, you just press the minus or down. And then to just shut the lights off, you just press the main switch again. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Thanks.